I grew up in northern Michigan, thick woods, cold lakes, endless dirt roads that vanish into pine. People around here talk about things that move in the trees, but I always thought it was just the wind, until last fall. It was mid-October when I took a late drive home from my uncle's cabin. The sky was clear, but the moon was thin, not much light to see by. My phone had no signal, and I remember thinking how quiet it was. No birds, no crickets. Just that deep, pressing kind of silence that makes your ears ring. The first thing I noticed was the smell. Wet fur and iron. It hit like a wall when I stopped at a crossroads about 10 miles from town. I rolled down the window, half expecting to hear coyotes. But what came instead was a low growl, deep, wet, to close. I tried to laugh it off, telling myself it was probably a stray dog, but then I saw them, prints. Massive, dog-like tracks pressed deep into the mud, leading straight across the road and into the trees. Each one was nearly the size of my hand, and I swear, they looked upright. You ever have that moment when your body knows something's wrong before your mind catches up? That's what it felt like. My chest tightened, and I couldn't stop staring into the dark beyond the headlights. That's when I saw it. Just for a second, something moved between the trees, tall, broad shoulders. For catching the light, its eyes, to yellow embers burning low in the dark. It was standing upright, watching me. Would you keep your eyes on it or start the engine and drive? Because I didn't, I froze. And then it stepped out of the trees. The thing didn't move at first, it just stood there, half hidden in the fog that hung low between the pines. Its breath came out in clouds, heavy, animal, too controlled to be wild. I could hear it from inside my car, the glass fogging from my own breath. I reached for the keys, my hand shaking so bad I dropped them. The sound of metal hitting the floor mat was louder than it should have been, and that's when it took a step forward. Its feet, if you could even call them, that ended in long, black claws that tore into the mud. The body was like a man's, but too long, too wide across the chest, firm-headed and dark. The head was all wrong, stretched forward like a wolf's with teeth catching the moonlight. When its eyes locked onto mine, my stomach dropped. I couldn't breathe. It tilted its head, slow, curious, the same way a dog studies something it's about to kill. I wanted to look away, I wanted to not see it. But every instinct screamed to stay still. My mind was telling me, if you move, you die. It circled the car, one slow, deliberate step after another. I could hear the claws scrape against the metal of the door. I swear I felt the car shift when it leaned close enough to sniff the window. The sound it made was low. A deep rumble that I felt in my chest more than heard. Would you roll the window up, or keep still and hope it goes away? Because I couldn't move at all. My hand hovered over the ignition, frozen. My heart felt like it was going to tear out of my ribs. Then it stopped. It was behind the car now, out of sight. The night went quiet again, to quiet. I didn't even hear my own heartbeat, just that still, unnatural silence. Then a bang. The back of the car jerked downward like something had slammed into the trunk. I screamed and turned the key. The engine coughed once, then roared to life. Headlights cut through the trees, and in the beam, I saw it again, standing on the road behind me, arms hanging low, chest heaving, breath glowing in the cold. Its mouth opened, wide, unnatural, with teeth that didn't belong in this world. It let out a sound I'll never forget, not a howl, not a roar. Something in between, like metal tearing mixed with a scream. I hit the gas, tires spun in the mud, flinging dirt everywhere until the car finally caught and shot forward. In the rearview mirror, those yellow eyes followed me until the forest swallowed them whole. I didn't stop driving until the gas lights started flashing. Even then, I couldn't pull over. My hands were locked on the steering wheel, knuckles white, every nerve in my body waiting for another sound behind me. When I finally rolled into a small motel on the edge of town, I must have looked insane. Mud up to the doors, shaking so bad I could barely hand over my ID. The clerk asked if I'd been in an accident. I just nodded and said something like that. Inside the room, I locked the door, slid the chain, pushed a chair under the handle, as if any of that would matter. The silence pressed in again, no wind, no traffic, nothing. Just the faint ringing in my ears. I sat on the bed, staring at the window. That's when I saw the mud. Smears of it, thick, dark, fresh, along the frame outside. I got up slow, like moving too fast might make it real. When I touched the glass, it was still wet. I told myself it could have been anything. But deep down, I knew. That thing hadn't just watched me drive away, it had followed. Sleep wasn't an option. Every few minutes, I'd catch a sound, a faint scraping outside or a soft thump from the roof. Each time, I'd sit up, heart pounding, staring into the dark. By 3 a.m., I gave up pretending. I grabbed my phone and started looking up local stories. And that's when I saw it, article after article, all describing the same thing. A tall, wolf-like creature walking on 2 legs, yellow eyes, a sound that could shatter your bones. Locals called it Dogman. And every witness said the same thing. Once you see it, it doesn't forget you. Would you believe that, or would you think it's just fear twisting your mind? Because right then, I heard something that made me drop the phone. A low breath. Right outside the window. I didn't move, didn't even blink. The curtains shifted just slightly, like something was brushing against them from the other side. And then, softly, came the sound of claws dragging down the glass. Screech. Every instinct told me to run, but where could I go? I wasn't in the forest anymore. I was trapped in a single box of light, surrounded by night. I took one small step back, and the scratching stopped. Seconds passed, silence again. I thought maybe it was gone. I thought maybe it was all in my head. Then the lights flickered. Once. Twice. And went out. Darkness swallowed everything. I couldn't even see my hands. Just that faint outline of the window and something standing behind it. For a moment, I couldn't move. The world had gone black, and the only sound left was my heartbeat, too fast, too loud. Then, a slow exhale, not mine. It was right outside. The sound of claws scraping against the glass returned, heavier this time, dragging long and deep like it was testing the barrier between us. I stepped back, holding my breath. I could smell it, a mix of wet fur, earth, and something metallic like rust or blood. Lightning flashed outside, bright enough to burn the silhouette into my mind forever. It was tall, too tall for a man. Broad shoulders hunched under the rain, a muzzle glistening with water. Eyes glowing faintly, not red, not yellow, but something alive, like molten amber. And then it smiled. not like an animal. Like it knew? I stumbled backward and tripped over the knit stand, crashing to the floor. The noise broke something inside me. I lunged for the door, fumbled with the locks, but before I could pull it open, a thud shook the window. Then another. It wasn't trying to break in. It was warning me. The sound of claws raked against the door, slow and deliberate, as if tracing the shape of my fear. I pressed my back against the wall, praying for dawn, for anything that could make it stop. When the first light finally crept through the cracks, everything went still. I waited. Then, inch by inch, I opened the curtain. There was nothing, no mud, no prints, no sign of anything at all. Except the window. Something had been etched into the glass overnight. For long claw marks, curved, uneven, and in the center, a single print pressed deep enough to frost the surface from within. I left that place the same morning, never went back to the woods, never drove that road again. But sometimes, when I'm outside late, I swear I still hear it. A low growl, distant, patient, like it's waiting for me to forget. And if you've ever wandered deep into a forest, alone, and felt watched. If you've ever heard heavy breathing just beyond the trees. Maybe it wasn't your imagination. Maybe Dogman found you too. So tell me, would you go back into those woods knowing something might still be following? Because once you've seen it, it never really lets you go. If this story sent a chill down your spine, don't go anywhere. The next creature we'll face is even more disturbing and far closer to home than you think. Hit subscribe, turn on the bell, and let's keep the lights on together.